is a very opportune moment for us to talk to you on this emerging digital assets landscape. So I'll go back a little bit, and I was reading your biography. You started as an enthusiast for emerging technologies, experimenting with new things, and founded an NGO. I think that was during COVID time, which essentially helping NHS workers with their meals. And I think you, based on that service, you received an MBE, Member of the Order of the British Empire. And I know you have also established a foundation, Tayyaba Foundation in Pakistan, helping people in desert areas who do not have water, so how they can water or transport waters. And now, after all this, you have established a regulatory authority in a very short time. And this regulatory authority is in a sector which was considered as a taboo. Crypto trading was banned in Pakistan. So, how has this journey been?
Oh, thank you so much. I was lost in the question. Absolute honor to be here today, and it's amazing what you guys are doing here. I think my journey essentially it's all been unplanned, and it's with the blessing of Allah that I've been able to kind of do whatever contribution. Um, so I think essentially my premise is that universe rewards action, not intelligence, right? It's the doer of deeds who actually does it. Based on the same premise, I've always been kind of encouraged to look at what is happening around the corner. And I think technology is not about machines. Technology is about giving leverage to everyone, whether, you know, us as humans or countries, to do what is undoable. And we see that historically, every single country or person, even who's had a asymmetrical success, has been based on technology. And moving forward, with how the world is evolving, I don't think it's only about the land, the army. It's becoming, how do you become more sovereign in terms of your own technology. So my journey essentially it's been filled with a lot of failures as well, not just successes, but it's essentially been around impact. The organization in terms of the water transportation, which was created, and it helps women carry up to 40 liters of water. We were actually the world's first NGO to have raised funds using NFTs back in 2021. So we did that again. The 1 million meals initiative was again out of technology, because I think technology is the only thing that gives you an unfair access or can put all your excuses aside. And I think now that is happening with AI. If you want to do something, there are billion-dollar companies being created, single person billion-dollar companies. And that is essentially where we need to focus and bank on. Creating the regulatory authority in Pakistan has been an experience that I think it's very hard to explain. But it's been amazing. But again, what shows and the thesis that cements is that within Pakistan, we've been able to create a regulatory authority of something which was not very receptive in record time. In 6 months, we've been able to do it, whereas we see that there are other areas, Hong Kong, Singapore, which have all the intellectual capital of the world, all the financial capital of the world, and yet they have taken a couple of years. So I think if I take the credit, that will be wrong, and it'll be incorrect. It all goes down to the leadership of the country, who made a choice that because there is already a lot of adoption, and then the people, the actual users of this technology are usually less than 40, 45 years old, right? So they want to create a future for them, and using these nascent technologies only, blockchain, AI, Pakistani youth can have an unfair opportunity where all the traditional advantages that we might not have had are neutralized now.
Yeah, thank you, Bilal. Yeah, so again, as you move the discussion towards PVARA, so now my next question is, as the leader of PVARA, what do you think? What should be the key priorities of PVARA towards that mission that you have just portrayed, that we want to leapfrog in that area?
I think the mission can be broken down into multiple things. Mission is A, that there has been 40 million approximately users that have already leapfrogged where the state has not. So to bring them into a regulated environment. And nobody is shy of how, because when it was being done in an unregulated market, how certain people were being exploited. So A is to bring the regulation and bring everything outside the gray market into the formal economy, which of course gives consumer protection. And then it creates an enabling environment for people to actually come out and build. Then we have remittances, right? We receive $38 billion of remittances, but they still use a mechanism which was built in 1973. As a country, we've been giving grants on this remittances, but that can now change using stablecoin settlement. Then we have a huge freelancer economy, fourth biggest freelancer market in the world. So when you take confusion into clarity on the top, then you create an enabling environment, and then you see serendipity happening, where now when we see one single person billion-dollar companies being created, like Hyperliquid is a great example. You have the New York Stock Exchange with over 2,000 people still doing $1 billion, and then you have Hyperliquid, a blockchain-based perpetual DEX with only 11 employees and doing $1 billion, right? We saw recently that oil was being traded only at one place on the weekends. It was being done on the blockchain, Hyperliquid. So when we have this once in a generational opportunity where the generation has already progressed, Pakistani youth is already living on chain, right? They are receiving stable coins, they are experimenting. But how do we take them to the next level also? Where we create these great companies out of Pakistan, because we have most of the social economic problems you can think of, right? So we can create that playbook on how we bring 100 million unbanked people into the you bank them. How can you create real estate token? How can you create more asset-backed tokenization, whether that is in real estate, commodities, private credit? So we want to experiment in a very risk-mitigated way and actually create case studies where this time Pakistan will be leading, because what has also happened is that since this is a new technology and this was not there 10 years ago, Pakistan has always been on the receiving side of policies, etc. This time we have our own pen, we have our own table, we have our own chair, and we are writing what is Pakistan first.
That's great. Now, again, as you said, Pakistan is now leading, and credit goes to you for establishing this regulatory framework in record time. So, this space where you're moving, do you think this speed will not affect the way we are doing things? Are there any risks? Are there any dangers or challenges that we should be aware of rather than just spearheading in this direction?
See, this is the problem. If you do, that's a problem. If you don't do, that's a problem. But as I mentioned earlier, we do it in a very risk mitigated way. And again, on first principles, universe rewards action, not intelligence, right? We can contemplate and we can keep on doing as many risk mitigating activities, but I believe that putting those things into sandbox environment, partnering up, and then you see what we've been able to achieve right now is just through great consultation, and because the speed is necessary, because the adoption is already there. You already have you are already the third biggest market in the world. There's a lot to catch up on. And then that's a very unique situation for Pakistan, because you have the adoption, but you also, on the other hand, have the talent in terms of the freelancers. So if you converge them together, there could be great ideas and products that can come out of it.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And you have, again, as mentioned, there are around 40 million crypto users in Pakistan. And I think as of a couple of months ago, that was banned. You could not trade in crypto. So there, uh, people use these informal P2P channels, exchange, which are not present in Pakistan, not registered in Pakistan, not under any regulatory authority. So as you said, these users, some of them have actually been exploited. So that's one thing that we have seen. But in addition, we have also missed an opportunity in terms of getting this capital to our financial institutions. So what do you say about that?
But you see, historically, whenever innovation happens, it happens outside the formal sort of economy or the formal framework. This is why speed is important, and this is why the leadership of this country is adamant that we must do this, because of flight of, essentially capital, all of this informal economy where nobody has any tapped into it. So this is why the recent statement by the state bank, where they withdraw the blanket ban which was there for the past 8 years, will now allow banks. So you see, as regulator, you can create the framework and the ecosystem, but you can create the framework, but the ecosystem needs to walk, and they all need to walk together. And that is what we've started to do. I think that is a great step in the right direction. So companies that have NOC from PVARA will be able to formally go and open up bank accounts, and that is how you start to curb that informal economy, and you try to move this into the formal economy.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, Now, again, as you pointed out, the no objection certificates have been issued to companies. Also, PVARA has opened a sandboxed environment. And I think this is specifically for asset reference tokens. Now, why specifically targeting this segment? There could be other use cases, but why this is PVARA's priority?
See, because this, we believe, is the lowest hanging fruit in the most risk mitigated way, because we want to experiment, or we want to put technology on top of conventional assets, and we want to bring more liquidity into them. So how can we see where somebody can start to invest into real estate using 20,000 rupees? Like recently, only 2 days ago, because I am essentially a builder, so I like to create and experiment. I bought, I was experimenting, and I bought a piece of land for experimental purposes for $13, and that is a yield generating asset, and all of it was on chain and took me maybe a minute. Now imagine if we bring this to Pakistan, where people can start to buy yield generating assets starting from 10,000 rupees on the real estate side of things. We can tokenize our debt, where people can start to earn Sharia compliant yield. Stocks, Pakistan has been one of the best performing stock markets, yet only 500,000 investors. So see, the demand is there, but if we can make it easier using technology, then Pakistanis can have an opportunity to earn or to invest in where they've traditionally not been able to. So we want to bring that opportunity to the masses.
Yeah, you are right. It has opened opportunities. for Pakistanis. And then again, this FSIT reference tokens, and I think the way this is priority is, as you said, is to target that capital that comes from remittances. We definitely target that. Now, to, to develop this kind of an ecosystem, requires a number of stakeholders. Some of them, or I think most relevant stakeholders, are sitting right here in this room. These include banks, fintechs, telcos, software firms, academia, regulators. They move together. So now, who should move first? Is it government, the regulator? They should move first, or all of us have to move in sync? What are the risks if we do not move forward? And what should our priorities be?
I think the risk of inaction is way greater than the risk of action here. So we have moved as the regulator. Now it's about capacity building with all the stakeholders that need to come together, whether they are in custody, whether also looking at what other institutional players are doing outside Pakistan and taking a leaf out of their book and working very closely with us, because this is, we are still a very nascent organization, and we are also setting up different committees with different sectors and vertical to explore different verticals and learn from either the banks or other stakeholders that are involved to see how we proceed forward.
Great, great. So, one question which is related to this topic is, now we have seen, you have also pointed out, Pakistan is now gaining prominence in the global stage, and now we are in those discussions that we were not before. In your capacity as a leader in digital asset landscape and your work in the government, how it has helped position Pakistan globally, and how we can use this as a tool for economic diplomacy?
See, Pakistan was never known as a tech destination, but when it comes to the financial technology and the next financial frontier, we are alongside, let's say, what is happening in the USA with Clarity Act, market structure bills. So traditionally, as I was mentioning earlier, that Pakistan was a taker. But now with digital assets, there are new rooms being created, new discussions happening. And because the credit actually goes to the youth of the country who already propelled and excelled in adoption, we have a seat on the table where the frameworks that we are creating now, there are other countries that are reaching out to us and asking that how do they turn this confusion into clarity? Because this is apparent across all emerging markets from Morocco to Malaysia, right? The adoption is there, and this is the future. Nobody can shy from it, whether it's the Nasdaq that is moving, whether it's the biggest the biggest investment banks or institutions like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. Everyone is moving towards blockchain. So moving forward, I think with how things are changing, it's great if we can have economic ties, because in the world of diplomacy as well, I'm not an expert, but it's all about durability. And traditionally, we've seen that countries interact based on what interests they have. And if we can have technological interests that are creating case studies and products from here that are not just helping Pakistan, but there are other countries that want to learn from us, I think it's a great opportunity for the youth of the country.
Great, great. Now, since you have established PVARA, I think PVARA established in August. I guess this coincided with our first launch event in Islamabad back in August. Now, if you look at the successes of PVARA, you have passed a legislation, the long-standing crypto trading restriction has been reversed. Now, similarly, there are other initiatives that PVARA has taken, including that sandbox. Now, if we invite you back after 2 years, what are the key milestones that you think we should have achieved, and that can move us in this direction?
I think having given complete licenses for the exchanges, a very robust banking partnership where people are able to onboard, on ramp and off ramp. Then on the remittances, we should be able to implement stablecoin settlement. And I think one of the biggest successes of PVARA should be if Pakistanis can have the opportunity to utilize tokenization as a technology and start to invest, and whether it's earn yield on it or just benefit from the value creation of whatever asset they invest in.
Yeah. So again, realizing this vision, this requires strong collaboration between all the different people who are sitting here. So, what message you would like to give them?
I think firstly, I would like to give a humble message to LUMS that it's very important that we have institutions because since this is a new technology, a lot of people don't understand that they might understand law, they might understand economics, but they might not understand the smart contract. So we need to, the biggest blocker that we have right now is great human talent. And we need to start to nurture that so we can, with the right talent, we'll be able to make the right decisions. But apart from that, this technology is moving. I am learning every single day. It is every single day there is new developments happening in DeFi, on tokenization. So we are all learners here, and there is no better place than LUMS to say that. So just keep on learning and reach out to us if there is anything that we can help with or partner with, and if we can push that through the sandbox, we are open and we want to create these case studies out of Pakistan.
Thank you. And I think now we should take some questions from the audience. So, if we can have mic for the audience, please raise your hand. Okay, Fatma.
Yes, we have. You'll get the mic. Can we have the mic? Somebody on my right side. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Faraz Yunus Bandukta and I'm from an organization called Al Hilal Sharia Advisors. What I would like to highlight is that with the Supreme Court's decision of Islamic finance, are you people trying to build up some regulations with regards to Sharia compliance of these all technologies and financial structures in the PVARA setup? Are you working on these guidelines as well?
Right now, it's part of our roadmap, but we've not been able to come to that. But essentially, as Malaysia was able to become the breeding ground for Islamic finance, we would love to explore to become the breeding ground for decentralized Islamic finance. So it's something that we want to do, but with the constraints that we have, I would also like to mention that right now we are looking to hire great resources at PVARA. And as soon as the team gets built, this is something where Pakistan can take the leapfrog.
I personally think that Pakistan can become the leader in Islamic financial blockchain and these technologies. So,
I have the same belief, inshallah.
Thank you. Do we have another question? Yes, someone in third last row.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम आई थिंक सारों को उर्दू आती होगी तो आई एम फ्रॉम IBA एंड आई एम अ फ्रीलांस कंसल्टेंट इन Web3 मोस्टली तो मेरा क्वेश्चन PVARA और SECP से रिलेटेड है रिसेंटली SEC US ने एक अनाउंसमेंट किया है कि जो भी सिक्योरिटीज़ हैं स्टॉक्स आई मीन वो जिस भी फॉर्म में हो आउटडेटेड थी पेपर फॉर्म में डिजिटल फॉर्म में फिर इधर वो ब्लॉकचेन पे आ रही है वो उसकी एसेंस सिक्योरिटीज़ की है अगर पाकिस्तान में PVARA के एक्ट में ये लिखा गया है जो भी ट्रांजैक्शंस जो भी चीज़ें रिलेटेड टू ब्लॉकचेन है वो PVARA का मैंडेट होगा लेकिन इन फ्यूचर SECP कहता है कि हम जो स्टॉक्स को हैं वो ब्लॉकचेन पे लेके जा रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे किस रेगुलेटर का रोल ज़्यादा होगा? क्या ये एक पेज पे हैं या इसमें ये होगा कि जो स्टॉक्स ब्लॉकचेन पे गए हैं वो पीवारा के मैंडेट में चले गए हैं, हालांकि उसकी जो एसेंस है सिक्योरिटी की वो तो वही है, तो रेगुलेटर्स फिर क्यों चेंज हो रहे हैं यहाँ पे?
देखिए एसेंशली तो हम सब एक ही पेज पे हैं, इसलिए इतनी जल्दी काम हो गया है। और हम एसएससीपी के साथ बड़ा क्लोजली इस पे काम कर रहे हैं, एंड दिस इज अ डिस्कशन दैट वी आर हैविंग। तो we will look at what the US is doing या other areas are doing, but we will do what is जो हमारी realities के साथ चलेगा।
Can we have one mic here also, please? Can we take one question from here and then we'll take one
I
from there?
think she raised her hand first. If we can.
Okay.
My question is basically, okay, how do you see the traditional banks evolving in this new economy, and what advice would you give the traditional banks?
I think that the banks again can look at what is happening in the US and in other areas, Singapore या Hong Kong, वो jurisdictions जो हमसे आगे हैं, and they are enabling. Firstly, they are hiring for the right talent in house, and then they are enabling and moving towards the blockchain technology. So the advice is again, very nascent technology है. Just learn and see what are the right tools available. There are already a lot of products that are built, जो आप implement करके you can start to then work with us to offer those to people here.
Yeah, and we can have a question from Sir Jazim. Yes, please.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Jazib Zahir. I'm the director for the Lump Center for Entrepreneurship. Since you've stressed that talent might really be a bottleneck here and you want to prepare the talent in a certain way, I'm curious, would you recommend certain enhancements to our curriculum, or are there other resources through our centers that we should be providing our students?
I think actual hackathons would really help because you can learn everything in theory, but I think what we lack is the actual doing. So a lot of hackathons and being an early avalanches of this technology, in 2014, 2015, 2016, today you see all these big crypto projects were actually part of hackathons. So if we can pick up different verticals, whether that is, let's say, agri-tech, DeFi for farmers, or how can we help, for instance, with the remittance corridor or the freelancer economy, and then we can actually start to build products. There's a lot of demand for it.
And just to add to that, we had a startup week in Lahore in November, and our theme was blockchain digital assets. And a lot of projects, a lot of students came up with some amazing ideas. So we'll be sharing it with PVARA, definitely. And all right, so next question, please. Yes, from Khurram Zafar. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Bilal. My name is Khurram Zafar. I'm the CEO of Pakistan Mercantile Exchange. Huge fan of your action bias and the pace at which you've been able to move. That's fantastic. One of the challenges, and this is something I guess I'm soliciting your support for this. One of the challenges for injecting liquidity in local exchanges and any kind of trading venue is the ability to be able to tap into liquidity pools which are virtually absent in Pakistan and mostly reside outside of Pakistan. Which means anybody who's offering liquidity to traders on local exchanges is basically taking on the risk onto their own balance sheets without any way to hedge that risk anywhere else, because there aren't multiple exchanges in the country. And anytime you want to hedge that risk off of your books across the border, State Bank doesn't allow you to do it. So I think in order for exchanges for trading tokens, for stable coins, or any kind of DLT-based assets that you want traded in Pakistan, we'll have to figure out a way of allowing State Bank to move money, at least to the extent of the hedged exposure of local liquidity providers outside of Pakistan, and then moving money back. So do think about that. I think it's very critical for exchanges to take off, based on this technology. So have you already talked to State Bank regarding that? Do you plan to do that? Is there any way that we can help?
Amazing.
In
would
those
love
conversations.
to pick that up, and we should speak to the State Bank on that. It's been again part of our roadmap, but we are still trying to take off. Like we've taken off. Uh, there are different battles that we are fighting right now. You see, when Larry Fink says that capital markets is a civic miracle, and with 40% of the US citizens not being involved, he calls it a crisis. We only have 0.02% of Pakistanis involved in the capital markets. Now, using technology, perhaps digital wrappers, we can tokenize certain stocks, and we've seen how Ondo or some of the other companies in the US are doing it. So it's definitely something that we want to do, and we will work together, and we'll speak to the State Bank on this.
All right. Sure, we can take that question. We have one question here. Okay.
Hello, I'm Faiza Ismail from LUMS Law School. Thanks for being here today. My question is about PVARA, and it's a general trend in financial services is that regulations always follow crises or failures. In case of Pakistan and PVARA, it was a gap which was covered by establishing this authority. So is the authority planned to just supervise the industry or this new emerging area, or you also plan to facilitate it? Because general trend, as I said, that first innovation happens and then regulations follow them. But since innovation has happened, and just like you said, that there are jurisdictions like the US and EU, and they're pretty advanced than us. So authority has any plan to facilitate this industry?
Of course, we would like to incubate and accelerate, and by doing different consultations and opening, we have an open door policy, so we want to facilitate, whether that is through building the ecosystem here, whether that is helping our partners find the right partners. That is essentially part of our mandate.
Great. We have one question from Mr. Sardar Ahmed Durrani. Can we have the mic?
Thank you. Hi, Bilal. How are you? Durrani, as we've met before as well. One of the questions I have, so we discussed innovation, we discussed talent, we discussed what PVARA is doing, the local ecosystem is doing. One of the key components I felt was missing is investors. So as investors, I've been sitting outside, VCPE in the same space. Is there something PVARA can do for us foreign investors to come and invest into these projects with you, invest with you guys, help pave roads, open doors for capital to come into the country? Can we request a sort of a single window solution where capital coming in and then repatriating out can be helped out as well? Because one of the bigger challenges that I've been investing in Pakistan since 2017, one of the bigger challenges we have is how to then exit and take the capital out. So especially within the blockchain world and crypto world, exits happen much faster. Is there a way you guys could pave a way for us investors to bring capital in and take it out as well? Thanks.
Again, I think that's a state bank mandate in terms of the FX. So this is something we can work on, and we can see that if we can have like a digital corridor only for the blockchain side of things, because right now it's happening anyways, right? Using stable coins and the P2P market. So if that has incremental benefit, this is something that we can go to the state bank and propose.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मेरा
We
नाम
have a
अब्दुल है
question from ma'am. Yes, ma'am, please.
Hi, I'm Bina Saeed. I work for MCB and I'm the head of product for remittances. So my question is related to remittances specifically. So we've worked with State Bank and the PRI for a long time, and once money comes into Pakistan, it's quite efficient, and all the banks have worked quite efficiently in making the transaction cycle smooth. But you talked about stable coins and remittances. Could you tell us a little about what roadmap that has?
So the state, we're working with State Bank to open up a sandbox for stablecoin based remittances coming into the country. And again, that is not something that is new. I was doing some study and I saw that the corridors between KSA and Philippines and then USA and Mexico before and after using stablecoin. For me, it's like a very simple thing to do, that it's just a technological upgrade where you just get instant settlement done.
True.
So,
So
so the,
from traditional Swift to stable.
yes.
There was another question, sorry. So, as you mentioned that in Pakistan, there are like around 40 million young crypto users, where as opposed to like 5 lakh users for the Pakistan Stock Exchange. But the main reason is the ease of use and the ease of investing. So, once the regulation comes in, which has already been done, do you think that will have an impact?
That is essentially what the idea is, that first we, whatever adoption has happened, we move that into the regulated channel, because right now there, these millions of crypto users have no consumer protection. So it's out of that.
Thank you.
Next question we have from Mr. Ahmed. Can we have mic here? Right here.
I'll ask first.
Okay, great.
All right, but
I'm-
you go ahead and then I'll ask. As the guest, let me take it. Thanks for the great insights. My question is following up to Durrani's actually question, which can be a role, which I understand, especially as you are building the blocks, which I like the action part especially. My name is Ahmed Khan, by the way. I'm the chief executive of the payments and digital assets for Vion Group. We are known here as Jazz. We are a big believer, and then we are already investing in the country in the big level and this space as well. And we are willing to do more. In that regard, most of the regulators come in the fiat world. We have this analogy that we are accustomed to. This is the national schemes or the switches, right? That settles the rails, settles the payments, etc., which is a great enabler for the digital payments or the finance system to flourish. I think PVARA can do that role, which is happening as well. You know, VARA in Dubai, we are very close working with, has created this orchestration layer. We were a part of that. Same thing happening in most of the regulators, providing this orchestration layer for these players to come in, stablecoin rails, or the players coming out of this country to the integrations with other countries, other players. Is there any plans for that regard? I'm sure that this is very early stage because you're already building the first principles, the blocks. But if the second stage or third stage, if there is anything that coming through, is there any plans in your pipeline?
Absolutely. Again, part of the roadmap, but Pakistan is a very unique country. We have our own unique realities and problems. So we do want to kick off with these rails, but starting off with inwards remittance. Yeah.
One last question from Mr. Hamayu, and then we'll finish the fireside.
Hi, my name is Mohammad Humayu, and I represent Mashriq Bank in Pakistan. There are two things that I want to talk about. First, the concept of blockchain and digital ledger technologies is so complex that it is very difficult for a common man and traditionalists to absorb and understand. The way we are as a bank approaching this is in two ways. Number one, we have Roshan Digital as a mechanism to bring investment into Pakistan, and more recently, now foreigners are also encouraged to bring through the same rails. And this Roshan Digital as a vehicle also allows repatriation, with $12.7 billion coming into Pakistan, and a fairly reasonable amount have been repatriated successfully. What we are aspiring to do as a bank is to make use of this. And then Roshan Digital Frame also allows investment into stocks, real estate. So if we can locally work with you guys to enable stocks on blockchain or real estate tokenized value, where people can locally buy and sell, and then have that traceability so that the same can be repatriated. That demonstration will then help the financial ecosystem and the regulator, particularly State Bank, to absorb how the entire transparency can be very well provided by likes of PVARA and the value chain. The second thing that we are trying to again demonstrate is how cumbersome the remittance rails are, but they also represent the trust in the banking system. So people are willing to pay more using SWIFT having intermediaries across, the sender and receiver, but they're not willing to experiment with the blockchain and the convenience it brings. Having said that, if a bank like ourselves can actually partner with some of the exchanges which are regulated, and then demonstrate how the same customer experience and the value is transmitted, that is then builds the trust in what you're talking about. I think the major barrier is actually people and the stakeholders rather than the technology or the mechanism. I just wanted to share something.
No, both are great questions, and I think people still believe that crypto is all, blockchain is all about crypto, but actually, blockchain is all about trust. That you do not need a third party. That was the whole premise behind the invention of, Bitcoin. On the first part, we are also looking at tokenizing $2 billion of our country debt, and we are also looking at tokenizing RDA because, as you mentioned, that this is one of the lowest hanging fruit in terms of sending the money back and then being opened up to non-Pakistanis and also companies. So this is something that we want to tokenize because the yield is great, right, compared to the US Treasuries. Absolutely. So we want to use this as a medium to raise funds for the country without any conditionalities that traditionally we've been exposed to. Secondly, in terms of your second question was on
Remittances.
on the remittances. So on the remittances side of things, the beauty is that the consumer or the receiver will never interact or understand what has happened, right? It doesn't on the UI UX show anything. All of this settlement is happening behind. But what is most important is that Swift is still charging it costs, especially on the weekends, right? It's an arm. So it's 5 to 6%. तो वो बंदा जिसने 50,000 average, I think remittance is $300 that comes up. That's, compound 6-7% on $300 every month. That's a very considerable amount of money for somebody who's sending money from Saudi or Dubai back home. And that is something that we want should go in the pocket of the receiver जो यहाँ पे भेज रहा है. तो
Actually, lower ticket size पे it's 12%.
एब्सोल्युटली. तो आप देखें ना $300 का 12%, 36 और पूरी एक महीने की सैलरी पूरे साल की. तो दिस इज व्हाट अगेन टेक्नोलॉजी इज द लेवर भी है, इज द लेवरेज दैट कैन हेल्प यू डू द इम्पॉसिबल.
I think we're just short of time. Bilal has to leave. Bilal, is that okay with you?
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
sure.
sir.
I am an independent director at Fireside, Government Leads. We started registered real estate tokenization under SCCP testing regime, and now we have migrated from SCCP to PVARA. My particular question is that if PVARA is ready for validating the notes, regulatory notes, if provided by the ART, Asset Reference Tokenization Sandbox Testing applicant.
बिल्कुल आप हमारे साथ शेयर करें. We would happy to explore.
And how about the regs regulations जो हैं asset reference tokenization की, और especially tax जो capital gain tax है property पे, बाकी asset classes पे, तो can we expect कि budget में इसकी taxes, asset reference token के taxes, capital gains profit पे कोई taxonomy आ जाएगी?
I think that is for the finance ministry to answer for the budget and tax. But we have a taxation committee.
I had a meeting with Aurangzeb Saab and Khurram Shahzad Saab too. But until and unless asset reference tokenization or any asset reference token will be successful after deciding on capital gains and other tax regimes. So we'll request you, the PVARA, to look into this tax regime. And if under this budget, if you can look into this so that we can proceed further. The whole category of asset reference tokenization जो है वो इस पे rely करेगी.
Thank you, sir, for your
Sandbox
question. Thank you.
खोला है.
Please, can we?
जी जी. Sandbox में हमने apply किया हुआ है. अब वो उसके बाद
Sandbox में
Bilal,
भी
you
सारी
should
चीजें
come
हैं.
more. We have like lots of questions. आपको थोड़ा ज़्यादा आना चाहिए.
I also want to tell a reality that officially, we are looking for resources. ये सब चीजें तब होंगी जब हमारे पास अच्छे लोग होंगे करने के लिए. तो वो इसलिए हम प्रोफेसर साहब को कह रहे हैं कि आप अच्छे अच्छे रिसोर्सेज पे हम फोकस करें और ये लोग क्रिएट करें कि आगे ये सारी इनोवेशन हो सके, क्योंकि खाली टेक्नोलॉजी से भी नहीं होनी.
Thank you.
Can you please put the table down so we can give you a token of appreciation to Bilal?
Thank you, Bilal, for this insightful discussion. As you said, we are with you. So any type of service, anything that you need from us and from these people here, we are really here to help.
May I
to
please
answer your
invite
question. Thank you.
our Vice Chancellor, Mr. Mujahid, to please come on stage, our Provost, Dr. Tariq Jadoon, to please come on stage and give a token of appreciation to Mr. Bilal bin Saqib.